Chinsa ni Isato na indo mwancho murigereri bonekera ngwege na nogendrete kwego kiaso kubwatie mirobiri yonsi ya Ndizi TV na bwo obwansubo mu gusingo kwarigania SMS Amayia ngomanye nara yangu ariganeretie asenchira ere yobwekera nuritangani kegima tigatoranyore gatiari ngo ariganeretie asenchira ere yobwenge
Sima no urero kuba akonyora montago sinikoyana yachura
Rituko ryoko inyora oborwaire bwa asthma nigo tokomanyiwa manke igoro yoboroiro wegasu mubiri omwanya bantu
William Ruto and his illegitimate regime are making serious attempts to suspend our hard-won constitution, which we shall not allow.
Titorigo chiwanja koundereriwa ne serikali ya Kenya kwanza inse yomuraibwense Dr. William Samoei Ruto bakanira baraikurwasa obomo bwazimio la umoja wa Kenya.
The government through the National Treasury terminates further payment of retirement benefits to the immediate former president, the retired prime minister and the 10th vice president.
Kubolia kuriwa wochiase serikali wetrase wizara yeke gancha chibesa chomutimo korita ya sabara ibe serikali enkorogo teneniwa. Hayo mnaenda manke omwancho murigere ngo kwarigani ngomanya senchira ere yobwekera no iretariane Everline Osero kirato kubwatirana nere Joshua Auta kwene kyawekere asense moye bimanyerero inyoro na sense meri ya Facebook nigo ratonyarwetera Ndizi TV News Digital asense moya YouTube Ndizi TV News aso mutandao Twitter na bogo twitwetera @Ndizi TV News boigona bogo sange kerengerero kyawetera se namba era se screen yawo ko kwarigani techaka senchira ya bene awaseri tukolia lero abakenya babwatirana ne Chinsa chindase okunyora oborwaire bwa asthma abo aseritko limanyikante na World Asthma Day ase abanyagetari korwase chinsemo au baganiri abantu kogendera wesokya na koringori wa oborwaire bwigekero banyorire byorokerero nanene konyora obugwenya Dr. Marita Wimeke korwase nyagetari ya Kisii Teaching and Referral egati abanyagetari bande nigo bakwanire guru yoborwaire bwiga na tokumanyiwa no muri keito Josephat Amisi
Jumanne ya kabere yo mutinyo gatano kero mwaka ensengi manige gochengera anana lituko lya asthma asabo batani be sector y'obachene bago chamo ele kwena na maigerio igorio burire obo bwasma korengana daktari Oimeke Marito yogokora emeremo asenya gitari ya Kisii Teaching and Referral nigato ereire anene oburire obo bwasma mboroire borobiobo
asthma no urero kuba akonyora montago sinikoyana yachura oso montago korra ekerara ngena se eidogo kendu ebuse erioki oseri musuri itindi
korende ebimanyererio by'oboroire bwa asthma gose egekubekebe mbire byebi
ninge obokendu nabo kogera asthma yaba igoro efumbi dust abantu abageza ne like animals kama se Gusii those animal far na bekogera pia yachangia those are called predisposing ama risk factors na ndio konyora nembe wa koera bangno no gotire getiro gose kokore egasi yago konyora na embe yako rere bwango yekara kora side ne chuiga njunya gitari
noko yana kore igoro osogo siekana montago tengengo siekana tegekuba okomurire njira akoyana kwanjira gatego nara gukwana akora mangana akona chiranjira oso mondo ne gotire getiro osichistas osinyo gotira asolio egosigana gwegekuba
oboroire obo bwasma mbobwati chanche ndeyonsi bunago tutebe daktari Cosmas Ontondi korwase daktari ya Emma korende korengena daktari Oimeke nabo monta konyara ko bakonyora anene chancho ya ilikuba eye kwirira gotanga anene oboroire obo bwasma gosoa aso mubere omwanya bantu
oboroire bwasma mbobwati vaccine ose iliyogolire go prevent konyora asthma just oboroire bogotana genetics. Okay, now it's hereditary. Bubwati vaccine. Again, to kende kelina kero kwanyori asthma, koso bwato uroro asthma. It's a lifetime disease. It's a chronic disease.
The vaccine ero ya influenza. Eyo ekobitulimo omwaka na timing ya ene season gete yeli kuba Now around this time baka mutinyo around yo 8 aso you can do change of weather makwana aro agocha ale special ayago take vaccine the vaccine no mwana makana bako betu monto makotuna bako betu
nigo bono abakenya banyarako bagosemewa banyarako bagutumia amarigo bakonyarako bakwenanwa kurwa ase chinyagitari yira irere anene komenya amuno bureire obwasobumwe bwabo nabwo kogendera amuno bukoreri bwabo bwakira rituko
tubata bachezaji abange sana ensengima tubata bamenyaki ensengima bagwata asima lakini tokomangana bata asima kyara mane to bwaka waida asulia kutumeke lyogo ni era yego control
negento burere gore common ana boko kagerana no burere bonde gose pneumonia ekeuno gose burere bonda kinasi mobwate
ekero kwanyolire nango kororole for example kororole kagari ekwa kya go fungana kwa go korosa bwango okoliga murabotuko ogwasimora mbiyo go nyagitari kero kwajire nyagitari ogatoro bolingoli nyagitari ndirago go examine je nono ko yana otegerera matero swati ko stethoscope to use twategerera gotege kuba
kuripotiri gotasinika Ndizi TV kuri county ya Kisii Eliterana Josephat Hamese
Miamono murikeito Josephat Hamisi ase oroboti ururikiranu abantu nigo bagenderete kuborigwa koba maiso anene chingakie chiembure genderete kwenekiwa ase chinsemo au anene ase orogongo rwa Gusii aya nigakwanwa nababisa korwa ase kiombe ya Kenha as korwa ase orogongo rwa Nyanza nabayigo ababisa batenerete amangana yimibasakana ase serikali ya county ya Kisii abatarira ensemo ya Nyamache ase daraja yabetegeko wa ase chinseme chori tukoria igoro nigo bateruna idaraje yo nigo irachikorosiwa na koenekia buna nigo baguchia kubeke mirobere isaine yo gutanga emibasukano bune yo muri kaitonde mo Stephen no robot uraso gwikirano
magega yembure nyinge korrekana gutwa sorogongo rwa Gusii nigo yoroyerere tasarene na separene nere ase daraja chinsemo cha Nyamache yanyarite kubutoka na korero moichano mwana saba menyi bensemeyo
sasa mimi hata majina yangu nimesahau kabisa kwa sababu hii daraja venye ilianguka tu jana. Mimi nimekuwa hapa na customer wangu kuosha pikipiki hapa. Pikipiki za customer zangu 2 silienda tu na maji. Masini yangu yenye nawashanga tu pressure ilienda tu na maji. Ndoo zangu natumianga tu hapa silienda tu na maji sote. Kibanda yangu hakuna. Sasa mimi nauliza hii serikali hii kuaso makali sitapitia wapi ndio sikuje hapa ndio nioshe. Ndio tupate pia sisi waso wetu, mapato yetu hapa sahi. Sasa mimi naumia tu njaa hapa, nashinda tu nienda wapi. Nitorokea nani ndiye anisaidie?
Jana mvua ilinyesha hapa Nyamache sana. Ilinyesha zaidi ya mara 6. Sasa ikifika kama jioni hivi hapa bila mumeangalia hii daraja ilifunjika mbaya sana. Nilikuwa nataka kwenda kuuza mayai hapa ngambo. Mimi nimekuta daraja imekatika.
This incident occurred last night. We managed to deploy officers throughout the night so that we prevent any kind of accident because many travelers didn't know that there is such a disaster. So far we have lost no life in this incident.
Rero abwatani abanene bembasokano kurwa sorogongo rwa Nyanza na bali bekipara mbaikirana enseme yo ase barigereria okobutoko kugwepara asoboime.
And the structure that has been here before is an Amco culvert that was done long time ago in the 60s. So over time it has worn out, and that was the reason why it gave in. What we are doing is we have assessed the damage. We are now working on a cost estimate which we will transmit to our headquarters so that we can get emergency funds to do another structure.
Abamenyi nigo basabiru kwerenda chinga keche chiembure nyinge asiti skuru cha sabiru kobeke bintu bigotanga chinkoba lightning arresters.
Next week we'll be having schools opening. We have put in place plans to ensure that learning is not interrupted. So those are some of the things that we are working on. But mainly we want to put emphasis on the road network, the drainage issues, so that we don't find ourselves in a situation whereby the roads are rendered impassable.
What we are calling upon the members who stay in Nyasasa area, where there is, we assessed last week on Monday, there is high risk of mudslides, and we are asking them to be alert so that whenever there is high levels of rain, they should be able to move to safer grounds. And also we are calling upon all places that have been clogged and rivers so that people can be able to open the flowways on the roads to avoid more disasters.
Emero belini gagendrete kobe kwa bune pale yo gochikoro siguna inde eliko gendererio bosombi kuripoteria Ndizi TV korwa nsemo ya Nyamache Bobasi constituency elietaliane Ndemo Steven.
Mbia mana umuricha ito Ndemo Stephen ase oroboti urutugutena nayo ni otokwenda wikase kaunti ya Nyamira awase gatiaba na inchi babiri bagwe sokya na gukwanira iguru yo kurobekana kurwa sense miri kwa miriria serikali azimio la umoja One Kenya anigo muricha ito kurwa se kaunti ya Nyamira job mangya utumanya buna egatiaba na inchi nigo babere bako okoboko kurobekana ukona ndabona nere nchira yoka ere gusera irere abara kurwa se serikali koreta maunchorerio ase abana inchi chinga kiechyo nigo abamenyi bande babere bakogikeri okorobekana na otana nigo korengete gusaria enibo y'abakenya nabona nigo baganira baraikuru ase Chinsa mechonsibere gochamo na gokoro kuigwana elio murembe koenekiwe mense ya Kenya.
Maiga ya kamati ya choretu elinde koleta okuigwana na egati umuraiwe nse William Ruto no umuraiwe kiombekia Azimio Raila Odinga osinyana chinkwana umuraiwe kiombekia Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance Raila Odinga araba Kenya asokorobekana asegati amaganio aligetie serikali goikerania nogo keigo wekerengo kyobugima noko igorwa boigo gwe saba ya IEBC ntwasanga nigati abamenyi be county Nyamira elinde komanya ebirengereri byabo igoro yengane yo korobekana
bano tosinyirenga ekera ruta gota togende mugondo kolema atoko genda kolema mugondo boya tataeti
ni kama this government ikoigu na kia gotebu bono the only language ekoigwa this is the only language government ekoigu
asigati abo bateba nigo bakwa okoboko okorobekana okwo asengencho obogima bwa kongire mono
twanenge gwakaringo lakini sai uchumi imekuwa juu Ruto gendere gutongainereria kiagera kirenge ntoka gukwana ngokorare tako pafu njama ndro amandamano nara goteba gendera sengencho ntoro chubu yasibore kiagara bintu bigenda ko ngari tukaserinde
wasibwe to wakana abantu school fees tayo kantori ko bayigotya
abantu bakunga yisudagiro babera isiko abantu bakora kikazi bari taya anda abantu bari taye naende bayirani kutigazi
mbasaba serikali kurigereria okugania kwa bakenya na gokeya ekerengo kyobugima asebasaba okorobekana okugokorwa asenchera yo morembe
bono Raila ominto tigasoke buye iga mandamana akorwa maya endagerego esukali egeregoro digo dirie ndagera chibando 200 tokogora ibesenchiyo abantu bachandikete Nyamira bono igona nayo gosabanga amandamana ya into Nyamira igana boto yanchire tabororo lakini amandamano ya amani montatari waka monto na
ensemo yende mbagikeria okorobekana okwo asibateba nigo koirere osaliwa no goturbanirwa kwenibo y'abakenya
nje ndose ngakuna haja ya maandamano yokera maandamano okorwe nje osarike bure sana abantu bawunye bintu by'abantu by'amoro cenge torare gotera ila Ruto easy time egera nikiragambire bikutashuka wakati wao ukifika.
Dr. William Ruto atwajika kuchingorora kolega tomoro chingana bakoja mambo ya maandamano tupilia mbali ngakiyonse kuandamanire ngakiyonse kuarobirira abantu bandamane togo kuguoka abantu baminto bakure
mbasaba barayoikara nsanse na kuigwana na elinde koleta omorembe asense icho ya Kenya
Panya toka nyara maoni ya ira kuna rana mali. Tunafata. Toka nyara Ruto kwa maoni ya mali. Tunafata. Ondela ndio kanje kubwa. Ege ntoke tunomora mbaro.
Kurwasi county Nyamira gingo reporter ya Ndizi TV Job Maangi.
Mia mana umurike itokoro ase kaunti ya Nyamira job manki ase oroboti ururu ikiranu kurobekana niko kwaeneki wase Chinsemo au aimensi ya Kenya na babwatani koro ase obomo bwa azimio la umoja one Kenya abonene bakorera magani yabo guchi ase serikali buna ogokeiwa kwa magori y'ebintu buna ligori lyobosi egati yayanda manke Chinsemo au gati abensemo ya Kisumu Mathare Ngongi na boigo Homa Bay nigo ababwatani abesokia na okorokorobekana egento kyabetereria abanyanyimbo sokia na gutumia gutumeka amario kyokurusia amariga maiso erioko seberekania abananchi na nene koreta omorembe Nekereki wanonigo abanyanyimbo babitererirwa gutinania maandamano ayo ase Chinsemo aigento keirera babwatani kurwase obomo bwa azimio la umoja one Kenya bakoragwa na Raila Amolo Odinga no mokonyo ye Martha Karua gatia baraibande besokia na kugikiria bururu askire bagoteba buna ababwatani gose ababwatani ku abarayikorwase ensemo ya Kenya kwanza nigo batumeka abantu ase wosaria enibo y'abakenya niga abarayabo baterana nigo barachikogendera gukora maandamano aburit kuri Alhamisi eriyo koenekia buna obosibore bwabeire bokoenekiwa ase abakenya niganene baba bakugikiria ogoseri wa kwa barayikurwase obomo bwa azimio la umoja abuba kibaira magani yabo ase chiabisi chumurai wense Dr. William Samoei Ruto
were on their way to the office of the president to begin the presentation of the petitions were not allowed to access this public office for which we pay with our taxes. Despite being peaceful and unarmed, they were met with tear gas and gunshots and other forms of brutality. We know why we could not be allowed to present a petition to OP on cost of food. There has been an attempt by the illegitimate Kenya Kwanza regime to mislead the people of Kenya that the cost of unga has come down. The truth is that it has not, and we wanted to prove it. We also wish to let Kenyans know that the new unga brands that they are retailing at slightly lower prices than the older familiar brands are GMO maize. A number of millers have declined to mill that and sell it to Kenyans as a matter of principle. It is incumbent on the Kenya Kwanza regime, shall I add the legitimate regime, to be honest with Kenyans, tell them the truth, and let them have a choice. Kenyans must not be made to consume GMO products without being told and offered a choice. We said it yesterday, and we will say it again today. William Ruto and his illegitimate regime are making serious attempts to suspend our hard-won constitution, which we shall not allow.
Abana kamati korwa somrengo Kenya Kwanza bachorete gucia gutinira chingwana ico cyarobire gukorekana egati ya serikali nensemire kwa miriria serikali nigo bamuchirie obomo bwa azimio la umoja one Kenya asogote babuna tibali tayare ase omuchingwana ico nigo boigo baburiria babwatania abo koenekia buna ngutirine bari mirubiri yonsi yo gukorokorobekana eriyo omurembe gukorekana imiense ya Kenya na nene kurwa chinga kinyororo cia serikali cyo guikirania emirubiri ya magendero asaba Kenya.
We have a statement to give to you as regards the status of the talks, the bipartisan talks. And this is the press release. We, the Kenya Kwanza bipartisan talks team, having duly consulted amongst ourselves, wish to state as follows. Number one, we are unwaveringly committed to the bipartisan talks wholeheartedly and in utmost good faith. Number two, we have called upon our colleagues from the Azimio la Umoja side to give us a commitment, but this has not been forthcoming. We still repeat this call to them to actually make the commitment. Number three, we are prepared for the sake of our beloved country, Kenya, to bend in different directions over and over again, so that these talks are successful and we heed the call, as we heed the call from His Excellency the President William Samoei Ruto for peace in the country and for dialogue over the issues of mutual interest affecting Kenyans. Number 4, the only issue we have with our colleagues is the oxymoron in their speeches. In one hand, they insist on a structured dialogue. In the other hand, they are for violent protests in the streets in the name of demonstrations, picketing, etc.
Chinga kiecho nigo abana kamati kurwa sense mende ria azimio la umoja wa Kenya na barabara kana komochia ababwatani kurwa CS kurwa Kenya kwanza asa wote babuna nigo bate ayariganite wikiranu ase chingwane cho nigo bate na wikemero bero yonsi akorengana na magani yabo yabirege wikirana na ryo kabara kore chinkwana goso ntaribo nigo barachi kogendera nemero yabo yokurobekana eryo kwenekia buna serikali yabirege koigwa ekerero kyabananchi.
Second condition, which they averred on Friday and they repeated today, is that they will only resume those talks if the demonstrations are called off. Now, we as a joint bipartisan team have never discussed and have never been mandated to discuss anything about the demonstration. It is not in our place to call them or to call them off. In our place is to discuss the things that are within our mandate, and we had already outlined it. And therefore, to give us a condition that we have to call off any demonstration, which is a constitutional right, as a condition of resuming any discussion, again is a show of bad faith. But I particularly want you and urge you to look at that statement. There are two things that are striking about that statement. One is to call our position an oxymoron. You don't use such words in respect of your colleagues in good faith when you're negotiating. Secondly, is to do what the police have done, is to declare in that statement that the demonstrations that have been called are violent. Now, to adopt that language of the police by honorable colleagues when we are discussing constitutional principles is unfortunate. We want to state clearly that we, as the Azimio team, are ready and have always been ready to resume, and we will resume any time we get communication that the Honorable Adan Kainan has been withdrawn as a member of the Kenya Kwanza team. If we get that communication now, we are ready to resume immediately. As long as they've refused to do that, it is a continuation of the bad faith, and we will hold on.
Togotigana nayo mwancho murigereri go muraibense Dr. William Samuel Ruto agendrete kugokera egetambo kiro yokubwatirana we Chinsa asorogongorwa East Africa ase okoreta amagendero gukwana chinga kiecho Ruto nigaine kyabuna serikali ya Kenya nigerwete asogosiro bwa matobu ya ne Chinsa chinde anena asogokinia obonchoreria irogoko emechando au eyo rabege kuirania amagendero magegani ya kwana chinga kibaba kwarigania ense ya Somalia ase mobwa igadi asata namba chikwariga ni Chinsa chinde chinyinge eriyo kogendera kubwatrana anena asogokine uchumi.
We welcome our sister nation of Somalia to join the East African community. We are looking forward to Ethiopia, Sudan, with all the challenges, to come on board so that we can build a stronger, bigger, and hopefully much prosperous region. The ability of people to move across borders makes it possible for trade in goods and services, facilitating wealth creation and socio-economic development. To the extent, therefore, that we are committed to socio-economic transformation and regional integration, we are equally irreversibly invested in human mobility. The development of our regional economic communities like the EAC and IGAD has highlighted the importance of human mobility and consequently given greater attraction and high importance to the need to ease the movement of people, unlock trade barriers, and address persistent challenges to integration. As a country, we have taken the policy decision that any African from any part of our continent is free to come to Kenya without acquiring visa prior.
Tinga kiechio ruto boigoni gabaka ukwanera iguru yogonchereria kwerire asate abunense ya Kenya nigo eyariganite boikeranu aso kwarigania omusangirekano bwo kwanera amangana au aywa gosemero bere yerengete agokonye mechandi yokoretwo kubwatikana no gonchereria kwerire ase umutienyi okianda omwako yega imense ya Kenya nigateba na Chinsa nchibonete go chamo ase okubwatirana eriyo korwania emechando au eyegenderete kwenekiwa.
It is my pleasure to reaffirm the Government of Kenya's full support to the declaration. As I have said, I will be pleased to host in Kenya the Africa Climate Summit in September this year. This is expected to help Africa solidify its common continental position ahead of the UN General Assembly's Climate Action Summit and COP27, and to secure concrete actions towards a just transition to an African era of clean, green industrialization. I am very clear in my mind that Africa can make a huge contribution to this debate. I also want to say that as a continent, it is our responsibility.
Ense ya Kenya nigo yabekire mirobero yo kubwatirana ne Chinsa au anene semo ya Djibouti ero gukora chingwa na cyomurembe bunenchire mo yokorwania Kisii kigendete kwenekiwa asensemo ya Sudan. Aya magega yo murayibense Dr. William Samuel Ruto otebabuna Kenya ne chikobwatana nobo mo bwe Chinsa kwenekia omwerio bwe Kisii asensemo ya Sudan. Ukwana sege karo ne chingosewo kwana asege karo ye chinkwana nense ya Canada niko muwaziri bwa mangana ye Chinsa chesko Dr. Alfred Mutua ateba buna babere bakubeko koiwana nense ya Canada yogo chia kubwaterana eryo kwenekia abakenya bonsi balia bakwameta sensemo ya Sudan babere bakonyorobokonye.
And we have more Kenyans living in Sudan. You find that there are Kenyans who are outside Khartoum who have decided they want to stay in Sudan. And so we are evacuating anybody who wants to leave Sudan, Khartoum. And I want to thank South Sudan, Ethiopia, and the countries that have allowed Kenyans to cross the border and be able to come here. We have evacuated also in excess of 500 other nationalities.
The UN must be able to do its work. And so it is important that people in Sudan have access to food, to water, to medicine. There's right now 59 hospitals of the 79 hospitals that are close.
Waziri Boborendi Weme Kithure Kindiki nigaene kirio komentwa kwa banyanyimbo asensemo ya Meru North eriko konya kurwania obosagani aneno bwebi bwetu bwabere bokoenekiwa ase Chinsa micho aniga gocha chinga ki obosagani bwabere bokoenekiwa sekerengo kigoro anene ase ensemo ya Meru tarakanithi amone Chinsemo chinde ikentukeirira abantu abange gosiria enibo yabo gosiria magima naboigo etugenyinke gokwa.
Unapigana kule Kapendo, unapigana Turkana, unapigana Shakahola, lakini unapotengeneza security kule nchi ingine ya Kenya, usisahau kwako nyumbani Waziri Kindiki. Asisahau kwake nyumbani. Tunaomba wale mifugo ambao wamechukuliwa na majirani, Warundi wa Meru wachague mifugo yao, na Meru is not a restocking place.
Ile ng'ombe, camel, mbuzi, ile inakuja pande hii mpaka iko na tunajua mpaka yetu iko wapi. Kwa hivyo saa hii tunaomba waziri with your security team, wacha ile camel iko huku, ng'ombe iko huku nini, kila mtu akae na ng'ombe yake na mbuzi yake. Hiyo ndio mimi naomba tu.
Ninataka nitangaze operation maalum ya kukabiliana na wezi wa ng'ombe ambao na wezi wa mifugo ambao wanatatiza watu katika sehemu hii ya Meru, sana sana Meru kaskazini. This area is now essentially a security
Okuboria nigo kwarurwe gwechiase serikali weterase wizara yekegancha gotenene chipesa chomutimuko goseritaya ase abaraya bakuru be serikali gati yabo yokabeiro murai wense ya Kenya Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta murai we kiama kia ODM iwego kabeiro mu prime minister Adairu Amolo Odinga amo na Kalonzo Musyoka gati abarai bande na nene kogania richi gose korusi waroro kwerichi ko rie katiba enibo yonsi eyo babere bakonyora kurwase serikali ayangorengana nabo bwatani korwase obomo bwa Kenya kwanza abo batere na enibo ye serikali nero abaraya babakoro bagotumeka anene ase gokora amandamano imeyense ya Kenya.
We are pleading and asking the House to resolve that the government through the National Treasury terminates further payment of retirement benefits to the immediate former president, the retired prime minister and the 10th vice president, and recovers any amounts paid to the aforementioned state officials. We want to say that, and that shall be extrapolated here by my colleague, Wakili Mureu, that we note with concern that the people who are leading this country into chaos are doing so using state resources. That the former prime minister is using a motor vehicle provided to him by the government and by taxpayers, even the fuel that he's using, the security that he's using, the drivers that are driving him, the secretary in his office, the cook, the gardener, all those things are provided for by the government. And the government cannot continue enabling violation of the law, because it is very clear, as I have read here, that the Retirement Benefit Act of 2015 that governs the retirement benefits of the former deputy presidents and prime ministers and chief justices is very clear, and we cannot continue allowing impunity of this level. So we are asking the Treasury to make sure that all the monies owed to the taxpayer, the monies are recovered, so that then they can continue to enjoy their democratic space as
Kwikiriga bano mwancho muriere nongo koda Amayia ye Chinsa Isato asenchera ereyo bwikirano bya mana sogochora ko banainche na ndembi ya mana sogochora kubwati mirubiri yonsi ya Ndizi TV na bwo ubwansu bumusi abasaki baito bari twabwatirana kwene kya mwana ya wikira asenchera yo bwikirano na urabuni gonko bakiranga mbya muno nyora buna semirubiri yonsi ni goragendera gotonyora sensemiri ya Facebook wetra Ndizi TV News Digital asensemo ya YouTube Ndizi TV News asumutandao Twitter @Ndizi TV News boigo asekerengero kyao na bogusanga na intuetera se namba erase screen yao iruto endre kwemanya na boigo gusanga amankere triane Everline Osero twabwatirana na Joshua Auta kwene kyago ikeira sensemo yimanyerero na boigo Petronila Mukeira oyene kyabuna chibichanerio gichyago ikeire asenchira yabene kukuganeria oburigeri buru bya semirobero yonsi na boigo obutko buroboterero.